You get on this bike. Okay. You are literally sitting on you. Something I've been seeing coming up a lot is, am I too big for this bike or am I too short for this bike? Can I flat foot it or am I gonna be uncomfortable with the bar position and the seating position? So we're gonna answer that. But first we have some other small topics to get out of the way, conversations that have been coming up in the comments, so let's tackle those real quick. Avinash G wants to know about modifications. There are a good amount of aftermarket modifications you can do to this bike. The ones that I have made, and I say made loosely because these bar end mirrors I just put on and they came with the bike. I took the rear pillion grab handles off. I really don't like to do much to this bike because I think the lines are super clean and the style is great. If anything, it's over stylized from the factory. So if I'd made any modifications, if I'm going to make any modifications in the future, I'm going to be taking things away, not adding things on. I actually don't mind the bar ends. I don't have as good as visibility, but these things sticking out of the top weren't like the best look. And actually when I got the bike first and other videos, I had the big ones on because I couldn't see anything out of these, but I've just gotten used to these already. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this yellow line here, and I may take that off in the future, but I'm hesitant to make any modifications just because I know that when it comes time to sell or trade or whatever, I want the next owner to have a stock looking bike that they can make their own impact on. I'm not too concerned about it. Yash Ammon wants to know about touring. I haven't done any long trips on this bike yet, so I'm hoping to get a couple of small bags right here, whatever I can fit, so I can take weight off of my back with a backpack. Right now I'm using this guy right here. It's a little camera bag by Lowpro, and that's great. But because of the seating position, which we're going to get to, it is a lot to take a trip on this bike. Justinas Doxa wanted to know if the power got boring at all, and the answer is still no. He brought up a huge point about, I think he's in the UK. You're on your A2 license or something similar. You can buy a 300cc or you can buy a 650cc for the same price and detune it. And he was wondering whether it's worth it to go for something like a 401 or just get a 650 and detune it. And I still think this has best-in-class power. 44 horsepower for a 370cc engine is a lot. And it still hasn't gotten boring for me. Having said that, I'm 5'7", 145. So if you're a little bit bigger than me, maybe you're not going to go as fast. But that's definitely a tough decision to make. Justinas. Marcus George says he used to be an Australian superbike racer, which is super cool, and he was impressed with the power for displacement. Yep, so am I. Oh, I'm sorry, I just got here. Brought up on the topic of styling that no one knows what this is. Very few people have heard of Husqvarna in the first place, let alone if they did, they know them from like making lawnmower equipment. So when they see this, they're like, who makes that? And they're not even like really recognizing this. And I was riding with another friend earlier and he was like, who does make that? He's like, I don't even know. And I said, oh, they just make sewing machines. So that one's for, oh, I'm sorry, I just got here. Now to the main point. This is from Badger McBlasty and a few others who I think Clemens recently commented, Clemens SC. It's all about, I'm getting a lot of, can I fit this bike? Can this bike fit me? Specifically seat height, having issues flat footing it. Yeah, so what I'm gonna try to do is sit on it. Remember, I'm 5'7", 140 pounds. I have the rear shock pre-adjustment lowered all the way to the last click. I believe there are 5 positions. So as it comes stock, this is the lowest you can get it. As you can see, when I get on the bike, it lowers a few centimeters from the weight. This is me at a light. I am on my balls of the fronts of my feet. But usually what I'm doing at a stoplight is putting my right foot on the brake and then leaning the bike over just enough to where I can get one full foot on the ground. And I'm totally comfortable like this. The only problem is coming out of a stoplight is not the worst problem. The worst problem is maneuvering in tight situations. The bars are pretty narrow, you're leaned over, and then because you're leaned over, your feet kind of want to go back. So you're even missing more of that height. You're doing small little turns left and right, it's not a comfortable feeling because you can easily go over one way or the other because you're still balancing this thing in between your legs without the feeling of being flat-footed. I am leaned over on this, but when you're riding, you wouldn't rather be riding any other position because it just begs you to go fast. Fantastic, but it is aggressive and it's not for everybody. So this is one of the main reasons you haven't seen me go on like a big trip yet, because it's just not a comfortable thing to do, and I'm not excited to take a long trip on this yet. The bike comes included with a tool to adjust this section here, and it is all the way at the bottom stop. So stock, it comes at about 3 or 4, and you can see the teeth right here. I don't want to get too close to the exhaust. You can see the teeth right here. It's not too soft right now. It does feel noticeably softer, but on the roads that I'm on, I actually welcome the little extra comfort that it gives me. So the only other thing that I wanted to touch on is the way you feel when you're on the bike. The way this seat is set up is that it's not flat. It's not a flat seat. However, this seat is not as thin as it looks. It's thin around here, and your legs actually feel this plastic because these things come out quite a bit. I'm not a huge fan of that because I'm shorter. I can't really wrap my legs around there, but this hump is, for lack of a better word, a complete nut crusher. You get on this bike, okay, you are literally sitting on your balls. And I have no other way to say that softly, because I'm sitting regularly right here, and then I'm gonna lean over in a riding position. And listen, you better watch out, okay? So that's the only thing that's not super comfortable. I found myself constantly adjusting for a number of reasons, but that's a big one of them. Because this comes up, the bike is very narrow, but it's not narrow throughout. It gets thicker and narrower in certain places. And most of my legs and body are touching the plastic rather than the seat. So this is not a touring bike. If I was sitting up higher with the Vitpilen, okay, you can stop looking there now. If I was sitting up higher regularly, like with the Vitpilen, the bones of my butt would be touching less of the plastic and more of the padding on the seat. But because I'm leaned over, this is the consequence of these bars. So I hope that helped. Yeah, it's a really popular question I've been getting. I wanted to address it because this thing needs a wash so bad. I think that's going to be the next video. My brother just got a touchless car wash kit, like a foam thing, and I think that's the best way because this plastic is pretty soft. And I'm very, very scared about scratching this and leaving dirt in it. By the way, I really hope you guys liked the previous video with the drone B-roll. I really just needed to get some exterior shots because I'm always on top of the bike and I have no one right now to help me do that. Please do not like or subscribe. Just kidding. As always, please like, please subscribe, hit the little notification button. So that will be the next vid. See you in the next one.